Hey guys, David Sadusky here. I'm a 20-year-old real estate agent and real estate investor, and today we're going to talk about how you can buy your very first rental property with little to zero money down. It's how I bought my first property at 18 years old. Yes, I said 18 years old. Again, little money down. So if you guys are looking to make the greatest investment you possibly can throughout all of your lifetime, real estate's where it's at. We're going to talk about the two strategies that I'm using currently to buy rental properties and the unknown benefits of buying rentals, the things that nobody talks about. So if you guys are looking, again, make the greatest investment of your life, stay tuned, we'll hop right into the video. So let's quickly talk about the benefits of real estate investing. Behind me, I have a pretty simple chart, and this is to show what most people focus on. In the next part, we'll talk about the unknown benefits. But in the green here, you have your income, or the rent you're charging. So that's your rental income. And in the brown, you have your monthly payment. And now you could see here, and you could also think of the brown as your expenses on the property. You can see here, your income goes up while your mortgage payment stays the exact same. And this is a benefit that maybe not a lot of people think about when they're initially buying a property. And I know this is pretty rudimentary, but for people who are brand new here and just getting into real estate investing, this is what most people focus on, and it's a great metric to focus on, but it's not all there is. But here, you can see here, your rental income goes up. So some people predict it usually goes up about 1% or 2% a year, and that's just through rent raises. Your monthly payment stays the exact same. Your mortgage does not change for as long as you hold the loan, as long as you don't refinance or anything like that, which you shouldn't unless rates are low. But your mortgage payment, your monthly payment will stay the same roughly. It might go up just for the taxes and the insurance on the property, but that's very minimal. Your income will always go up. So as you hold on to the property year in and year out, income's just going up, the mortgage is staying same, and what you have in this green area is just your cash flow. That could be anywhere from $200 when you first buy the property, and as long as you keep holding on the property, the income's just going to keep going up. So in 5 years, you might have 500, 10 years, you might have 800, and so on and so forth. So that's a basic thing to remember. In the next part, we're going to talk about the unknown benefits, the things that most investors don't think about and don't realize the power of real estate investing. Because I don't know about you, but $200 when I first buy a property doesn't sound very exciting to me. But just realizing that it'll go up, and then in the next part, when we talk about the unknown benefits, the value you have there. Okay, let's talk about the less talked about benefits of real estate investing. This is the benefit that I don't hear a lot of people talk about on YouTube. And even when I bought my first rental property, it didn't really fully click with me until after I started seeing the benefits. Something I want all real estate investors to really understand, especially first-time investors. So behind me, you have, in the brown, you have your loan balance. So the brown loan balance. You start your loan, let's say at $200,000, the loan will eventually drop off in 30 years to zero. You have zero loan balance, okay? In the purple, you have your property value, okay? So let's say you bought a home, let's just use rough numbers. You bought a home at $200,000, right? So right here, $200,000 is where you bought it at. That's the property value, okay? And in the brown, maybe you put 20% down, so you have a loan balance of $160,000, okay? 20% down, $40,000 on a $200,000 loan. You have a loan balance starting at $160,000, okay? Now in the green here, immediately after buying it, if you bought it with a 20% down mortgage, right here you have about 20% equity immediately after buying it. But you are putting that 20% equity of your own money in. Equity, you can think of it as just your money, your value in the property, your money in the property. Right away, you have 20% down in the property, so you have 20% equity. You can see here, all this green area, all this empty space can be considered equity, and you can see how much it actually grows. Because your loan balance goes down, your property value just keeps going up. So maybe at year 5, it's worth $225,000. So now you have $25,000 more equity in it. This is doing no repairs, no rehab on the property, just buying a property, a turnkey, as they call it, rental property at $200,000. It's still going to go up in value even if you do no rehab to it. And your loan balance is going down. And who's paying that loan balance? The tenant is paying that loan balance, plus giving you cash flow. So cash flow is not the only thing to focus on. Equity, all this empty space right here, that's what to focus on. Equity is the most important thing in buying real estate investing, and that's why 90% of millionaires get that way through real estate investing. Because again, the tenants are paying your loan balance, your mortgage payment. They are the ones paying it, and on top of them paying it, you're getting cash flow that also goes up. If you remember the last, crappy graphic that I gave you guys. So it's a win on all angles. I don't recommend doing this, but you could still make out great if you buy a property that cash flows nothing on the first year. I'm saying nothing. If you bought a property, cash flows nothing, you break totally even on the property. In 5 years, it's going to be turning out completely fine as long as you don't sell it. Because again, rents go up, property value goes up, your loan balance goes down, and it kind of exponentially goes down. So in the beginning, if you don't know about loans, you're paying mainly interest in the beginning. But as the years go on year like 10, 15, now you're paying more and more principal on the loan. Principal being the actual value of the loan. You're paying more and more of that off. So that's the win here that I don't hear a lot of people really talk about and go into, but it's something I want you to understand, especially if you're a first-time investor. This is where people become millionaires. It's not necessarily in the cash flow of the property, the $200, $300, $400, $500 that you're making off of the rental income. This is where they become millionaires. And we won't talk about it in this video, but it drastically improves if you buy a crappy property and fix it up, put $20,000 more of your money into it, and now it's worth even more, and then it goes up in value. That's how people win buying real estate. And this is a very simple chart that I just want everybody to understand right away before we dive into how I actually buy properties. So let's talk about 2 ways you can start buying real estate investments. The first way is just the conventional standard 25% down. We'll just point out key differences between both of them. And then I'll give you the FHA is how I bought my first rental at 18 years old. But there's a few strategies that not a lot of people know about, and that's how I was able to buy mine with, again, little to zero money down. So conventional, 25% down is typically for your investment property. Investment right now, the loans are 25% down, and they're even at a higher interest rate. So right now, I think it's, I don't know for sure, but I think it's at a 7.5 interest rate, okay? This is the standard way, most people buy investment properties. And if you're thinking about it on a $200,000 loan, 25% down is a heavy down payment. And that's cash you have to come up with right away without making anything off the property. So this is where people buy maybe one every 4, 5, 6 years instead of, multiple a year right away with little money down, okay? Not a bad way at all, and you're gonna have to start using this way as you buy more properties, but very good way. And there's even ways to make it a little bit better if you buy a property like a fixer-upper property at 25% down, put a bunch of money into it, fix it up, make it worth way more, refinance it, then rent it out. It's called the Burr method. There's thousands of videos on it. I can make another video on that method particularly. I've helped many clients do so. And that's typically how you buy these. But let's not get into that right now. I don't want to overcomplicate things. But just think, conventional loan, you're doing 25% down at a higher interest rate than a normal, residential loan. But still, it's the way most people have to do it. FHA loan, this is the exciting part, and this is how I was able to buy my property. Again, 18 years old, I can't stress that enough. If you're thinking, man, Dave, I don't know if I can buy a property, I don't have much money, I don't have much of this, I don't have much of that. I was able to do it at 18. I promise any one of you watching can do the same thing. So FHA loan, it's just another fancy term for a loan. It is 3.5% down, okay? So now you're already at little money down. 3.5% is a lot easier to come up with than 25% down, okay? And they are at a lower interest rate, but you have to pay what's called PMI. So it's roughly the same interest rate, you can think of it. So let's just put, 6.5 interest rate. And again, apologies for my handwriting. It's even harder to write on a whiteboard, but just remember with that 6.5, you're gonna have to pay a higher PMI, and rates are fluctuating daily. So talk to your local lender and figure out what rates are right now for you so you can start running your own numbers on the property. So these are just the basics of the loan. Now the benefit, we'll talk about the cons of each loan. So the con of a 25% down conventional loan is, like we talked about, you have to put 25% down and it's at a higher interest rate. The FHA con is you have to live in the property for a year. So you can only use one FHA loan a year, and you have to live in the property again for at least a year. So that means if you buy a single family property, FHA loan, with the idea of having as an investment, you have to move out of your current home and buy and live in that one for a full year and then move out again to rent it out. It's not ideal, but it's what I do. I buy a property every single year, FHA loan, 3.5 down, and I live in it, fix it up a little bit, just do some minor cosmetics, some paint, maybe new carpeting, things like that. And then I will buy another one after my year is up, FHA loan, 3.5 down, and just keep rotating it. Now there's strategies on it. If you're using the FHA loan strategy, I don't recommend you buy a single family home unless that's what your market is forcing you to do. I really recommend buying a 2 to 4 unit building. These are still under the residential categories, and you can buy a 2 to 4 unit building with an FHA loan and live in just one of the units for the year and rent out the other 1 to 3 units to bring in your rental income. This is a huge benefit, and it's how I bought my first property at 18. We bought a duplex. I partnered with somebody. That's another thing you can do if you have no money. You can partner with somebody who's like-minded and wants to buy real estate. Partnered with my sibling. We bought a duplex. We moved into one unit, rented out the other side. Now we were negative in cash flow for the first full year of owning that property. While living in it, we would fix it up, made it a little bit nicer, but we were still negative in cash flow. But the thing to think about, even though I was negative in cash flow on that one, the property that my brother just had, my sibling who I partnered with, just had to move out on this one, he just rented that one out. So now he had a property that he was renting out, making income on it. Instead of paying his mortgage payment, he's now making money on it and moving into another property, not making money, but paying a far less amount to live in this property. So this is a strategy that you can use every single year. Your living expense will go down significantly buying a multifamily, and you can rent out all the other units and then move out of it after the year and get the full rental income out of that property after the year's up, and do the same exact thing into another 2 to 4 unit building. So you can quite literally buy 2 to 4 units every single year, 3.5% down, which is a lot easier to save than 25%. So this is the main strategy that everybody talks about, buying properties with little to no money down. And it's the way I've done it, and it's how I'm doing it yearly. And then on the side, when I do save up that large down payment, I can use my 25% down conventional and buy that property. If you guys are looking at running numbers on a property, highly recommend Bigger Pockets podcast, or Bigger Pockets, their website, their forums. I'm not a sponsor by them by any means, but they have helped me out so much buying these properties. You go on their website and you can actually run numbers very easily through their calculator. And it's how you can find out what your cash on cash return is, what your ROI is, how much cash flow you're going to get, how much the property is going to appreciate. You can even run rental numbers from their website. So you have all the information for free right now to start running numbers. Even if you're hesitant on, maybe I can't buy a property right now, just run numbers on properties and see what the options are out there. And if you do this strategy, if you're able to do the strategy, you can get to financial freedom very quickly. Quickly as in 5, 10, 12 years of buying properties once a year. I mean, think about it, 10 years of buying 2 unit buildings, you'll have 20 units under your belt. That is a pretty advanced real estate investor at that point, and you're buying them 3.5 down. The only other downside is you have little equity to start with, that graphic that I talked about in the last slide. We have little equity to start with, but again, equity always goes up, your loan pay down always goes down, and the tenants are paying those loan pay downs. Now, I hope this video kind of explains some of the things, gives you a little insight on the strategy that I use. If you guys have any comments or any questions, leave them in the comments below. I can answer any of them. There's so much to real estate investing, I can't get into it in a 10-20 minute video. But if you have specific questions, please leave them in the comments below. I'm happy to make another video. Thank you guys for watching.